Hey guys, so there was a mistake with the audio on this one because it was picking up my laptop's microphone instead of my fancy dancy microphone. So that sucks. So I just want to preface that before I am judged on, or we are judged on the quality. So just wanted to mention that. I hope you guys still enjoyed the episode. Enjoy.
This is one of the cringiest things I've ever seen. I forced Derek to watch this. It was 30. This is from GameSpot. 37 minutes learning of consent in gaming. Derek, what are your takeaways from this? What did you learn about consent in gaming?
I learned that the gaming community just needs to get their stuff together, Nobody knows what consent is. It's
Apparently,
it's just it's my top priority when I play a video game.
it's like it was. They were so super serious. Like like when they brought up like how Drake didn't consent to
Having
putting
Chloe sit on top of him
yeah, like
and
uh,
then touch her butt or whatever. Like
wow, what a I was
the
outraged.
baffling one was like the Psychonauts thing where it was like, oh, they didn't consent to the main character going in their minds. Like, no, but that's like the gimmick of the game. Like, eh,
Yeah, you know,
when I played that game, that wasn't what I was thinking. I was like, huh, he didn't ask if he could go in their brain.
you know the weird part is actually well, I guess it's not weird, but what I learned is that now in Skyrim, I'm gonna ask the enemies to consent to me hitting them before we engage
Right?
in
May
combat.
I Fusro die you, or may I not?
Can I defend myself? Look, look,
Yeah,
look, like consent to real life, that's totally different. But when it's a video game, you
it's a
know, it's like
video game.
it's a
Just
video
stop.
game, right? Like the sex scenes, like are really just like to add to the story for better or worse. I mean, honestly, I
They're
could go
also
without
like
sex scenes. I don't care about them.
right. They're also like 90% of the time optional, right? Like all
Right.
those romancing things in Mass Effect, the romancing in like Cyberpunk, you don't have to do that stuff.
Yeah. like, uh, I mean, unless you're 100% completionist, I assume there's achievements connected, and for Mass
Right.
Effect at least,
But
I
at
think
that
there
point,
was.
I'm just in it for the achievement. I'm like, you
Right.
know what? Shepard didn't ask what their favorite color was on a Wednesday, and I think that's just wrong.
That's messed up, bro. That's really messed
Yeah.
up. I
Yeah.
like it was just, and also it was really weird. It's hard to explain, but like progressively throughout the video, I guess the person name was Tim Schafer. They like were progressively taking off their clothes, and then at the very like we knew there'd be some kind of like ending to it, but at the end it's just them going to lay in bed. Like
Yeah. And that was it.
it was really weird. Um, Also, the other notable examples that they pulled up about like how well, all right, so there's multiple parts to it. One of the parts is like how video games depict men as always being okay, and that's not okay. You know,
Right.
like oh, when
It's
the
like,
woman starts it, men don't have to, like they don't have to consent, but really they do.
I
It's
mean,
like
I it's plot, right?
right.
I
it's
don't
like
know.
it's like yeah. I mean, at least in Heavy Rain, you could chose don't kiss. I don't know what more they want. Like at least there was an option there.
Right.
Like I mean the weird part, right? Is like they bring up like consent to Mass Effect, even though you're literally doing stuff with aliens. Like that's not a problem. That's
Right.
fine.
Right.
I stop, but we stop at not expressing yes. Like
I made the like correlation when we were watching it too. Like the person has like obviously never watched like Star Trek. Like that's what they did in Star Trek too. They all like hooked up. They're like literally in a ship in the middle of space. Like what else are they gonna do?
right. I mean you're like it's kind of like in a workspace situation. Like you kind of you typically get feelings for your coworkers
Match with
in a
people
social.
you're
Yeah,
close
like
to and
yeah, like
interact with daily.
right, and and that's in the real world. In a video game, it's
Right.
like,
I don't care.
like, like
What was the
whoa,
one scene? It
oh
was like Ezio in the bathtub,
yeah, yeah. I
right?
was gonna say that, yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
yeah, his face screamed, "Oh
hold
no,
on.
stop! I'm
Right,
taking a bath.
right. Like the
My
consent,
wife is trying to kiss me and make love to me. Oh no!"
right? Like Like you like even when we were younger, right? I didn't question like, did
Did
Etcher
Ed
really want
do it in the bathtub? Maybe he
it?
just wanted to do it like in the bed
Maybe you want
normally.
to cuddle, like they
Yeah.
really want to. And then like this part, like I think was really over the top, where the boyfriend dungeon section where
Oh,
apparently there's
yeah.
backlash because
There's
because
like a character that
he
like
stalks you,
stalks your character the whole
right?
time and is like abusive and whatever. But like I don't care, right? Like that's the character. Like it's there for a reason, I'm sure. I'm
Right,
sure
right.
there's like a story arc with that character. And you probably guess what, overcome it in the end. I'm sure they don't let it get that bad.
But
So like I don't know.
and the whole issue was like, oh, they didn't make a content warning for it, and it apparently like it triggered a lot of the fan or yeah for fan base. It's like look, I'm gonna. This is gonna sound terrible, but if a video game is like giving you psychological trauma, you like I'm not even, like I I'll just say you really should actually just go to therapy. I'm not trying to be like
Right.
mean spirited
Don't
about it, but like
don't play the video
yeah, well,
games.
yeah, don't play the video game. First of all, take a step back from video games because like video games are unpredictable. You know, I'm trying to think of like a surprise death or something that. Can you think of something like a
Joel.
Oh yeah, that was a that was traumatic. It ruined the whole game.
Right. You know, that's why I can never say The Last of Us 2 was like a fully bad game because like they killed Joel and then I was so enraged while playing as Ellie for the first half of the game.
Right,
Like I wanted to murder everybody.
right. No, that part was fine. And then you played as Allie and that or Abby, and it was just
Abby, and then it was awful. Yeah, I
yeah.
don't know. She played on the football field with the dog or something. I don't know what she was
that,
doing.
that that part was just god awful. But
Yeah.
it's like
What was the
okay,
other stupid
oh
thing they talked about? It
Dead
was
Space.
oh yes. They apparently the Dead Space remake has a content warning you can turn on where it says like the upcoming section contains depiction of self-inflicted death. It's like it's a horror game. The game is literally called Dead Space.
Right,
Everything is dying in the
right.
game.
Like
Don't
that's
don't play it then. Guess what?
what rating did Dead Space?
It's M. I assume M.
I would think it was gonna be R possibly. That's why
Yeah, it's
like
M.
it's M. Yeah, so
Yeah.
that's like kind of the point
The
of
point of the
these
Peggy system. Yes, yes. That you
right.
guess what?
Peggy
Play E
12.
for everybody games. How about that? There you go.
It's like if that's like the whole point of a horror game to scare you. That like
Right. There's
and
the blood and gore and destruction. Like I
and
don't.
I'm trying to remember. Does the Dead Space at the start like tell you there's like
You literally
like
watch Chen get destroyed in the first 10 minutes of the game.
no? What I mean is like does it like just tell you like graphical violence or stuff like that? Like doesn't it have
Oh,
to?
I'm sure there's a screen. Yeah, I
Right.
all games do it. Yeah, there's like, oh, there's game contains graphical violence
Right.
or whatever.
It's
Viewer
like
discretion is advised.
if you can't deal with horror, don't play the game. Like if you know you can't
Right.
deal with it, that's not something that causes
If you need a warning to be turned on that says, "Hey, if you go in this room, there's going to be scary dead things," that
right.
don't play the game.
And like from the screenshot, I think it was a screenshot we saw it where it was like a fog door that completely ruins the immersion. If I know I'm gonna
Right.
get scared, like I never played Dead Space, and I was getting freaked out from multiple points. You were
Right.
laughing your ass
The
off.
point was like jump scares and it's like
Right,
dark and you don't know what's coming. Like I
right.
don't know. It's nonsense.
But if I know if I go through a door, I'm gonna be scared, then I'm not gonna be scared. I'm gonna just
Right. Just
anticipate
gonna
it.
be ready. Yeah.
Right. So like that's such a like like oh thanks for letting me know. I consent to being scared. Thank you. The, like people actually look. I know we're like a gaming podcast centric or YouTube whatever, but like people are taking video games way too seriously. Like way too seriously.
I know. What does video games have to be so political? Just make a game.
Make a,
I think that's the problem too. Like, is like we just haven't had good games lately,
true.
other than like Nintendo because they don't do anything like that. But like these like big RPGs and whatever, like they all suck because they're all too worried about like, oh, what's politically correct? Can I have a heterosexual protagonist? No, okay, we got to figure out what to do. Make it a
Like
minority or homosexual or whatever. It's like I don't care about any of that. I just want to play a game.
I don't mind. I don't mind relationships in the game canonically. Like I don't care what
Right,
my
but it shouldn't be
sexuality.
the main focus of the
Uh,
whole
un,
design of the game,
un,
unless it's like that's
the
the
base of
point
the
of
game,
it.
right? Right. Unless
Right,
that's the
right.
point of the game. But
Like
it's
Life is Strange,
right.
like the first one for was it the first one where she was a lesbian in the first one, right?
I didn't play it.
Oh,
I didn't play
I
it.
think she was. I think she was in love with the other girl,
Oh,
Max or whatever. Um, but like that was like part of her character, so it was like, yeah, that's fine. Like that's
right.
cool.
Right. But then you like, it's just like, or their example was Life is Strange 2 when you like take away this girl's anger, but she didn't consent to you taking her emotion away. I
Right.
was like, but that's your power. So
Right. You're just trying to help. You
like,
also don't know what that's gonna do to her until you
right.
do it.
So right, exactly.
Like,
But like really, that's like, but like that's supposed to be the thought. Like by consent, it's a video game. Like unless you're a certain terrible kind of person, the R word, um, and which is an act of non-consensual, then like that's a different story. But in a normal game, like we're in Psychonauts 2, like really, like that's what you're thinking about. Like, oh, you gotta make sure you consent to go in everyone's minds. Like, but killing's fine. Everything killing in any game's that's fine. You don't gotta
right.
consent to that. It's like the emotion behind it. Like, oh my god, like just let me play my weird game. Like I don't need. Uh, eh, mm,
I don't need to worry about that. Like Psychonauts, like I would have never thought of that, right? Like
right.
playing that game, like, huh, I wonder if you really wanted him to jump in his brain and stop the badness. Like, what? I don't get it.
Like I was trying to see. If, I just googled games with lack of consent, and I want to see if anything like popped up. But like I feel like
Is there
like
also
what?
like so the games he picked, they picked, right, was like Mass Effect trilogy,
Oh,
Uncharted, I think, right?
I
It
just
was
want
like
to point out that Mass Effect did everything right in terms of like relationships and sexuality because like everything was an option. Granted,
right.
it was with aliens, but it was. It didn't feel like it was shoved down your throat. Like I feel like that was fine.
He literally, and then they comment on like Leisure Suit Larry at one point, and it's like, yeah, but everybody knows that game was like a joke. Like
Right, that's the point. That's
that's
the
the whole point of the game is it's
right,
a literally adult themed game.
right. It's an adulting game about just some dude who's like desperately trying to get laid. Like it's
Yeah,
literally his character. You don't like that?
right.
It's like,
I don't
oh, like
like it.
they said no, so that's the consent part. Like I get that, but it's not. But also,
It-
he never actually gets anywhere when they say no until he does something, and then they're like, okay, I changed my mind, which is consent.
right. That's consent. Yeah.
That's good. But it's just, really, what we're trying to make here is that they just took it way too far. Like, no, I don't think consent should really be like the first thought in purchase of a video game. Uh,
Right.
yeah, I didn't consent to Cortana, infiltrating my mind in Halo 5.
Yeah,
So,
I bought Mario and Rabbids. Did Mario consent to the Rabbids joining the team, or like
right, like, come on,
you
what's,
just forcing it upon him? Come on.
and that's just the world we live in, right?
It's just awful. I'm sorry. It is just terrible.
it,
Like, just shut up and play the video game. It either sucks because it's a terrible game or it's good because it's a good game. I don't care about the politics behind it. That's like, I mean, they talked about it. It was like Hogwarts Legacy. And it's like, there's a big uproar about that. But then, like, I think we have it up for later, but like IGN is like, yeah, the game's still good though. Like, we're not basing it off of the
right.
backlash or whatever. Like, the game's still fun.
Right. They had to literally put up a
A disclaimer
yeah, a
that's like,
disclaimer
yeah, we don't care what J.K. Rowling did. The game is good, right?
but it's not even like they didn't care, but at least they're upfront
Or
about like
right,
they're like, hey, we're separating the art from the artist, or yeah,
right,
it's
right,
like yes, this would effectively financially benefit her, but we're just basing it on if it's a good game based on what it is.
right.
It's like so,
Which
which
what
is
it
like
is.
right, and
It's
which like that's a
crazy.
fine way to go about it. At least I mean, I don't think they really had to go out of their way to make that like disclaimer, but I guess it didn't hurt, you know.
Right.
Um, but like I don't know, man. It's just that is the world we live in now.
World. Oh, the
Although
world. It's great.
that game's going, I think that it's incredibly pre-order on Steam, right? Like,
Oh, it was like 6 million. That sound right? 6 million pre-orders or something. The like first day it was announced or something.
2 days
So
ago, Hogwarts Legacy is already hogging sales leads on all platforms.
yeah.
That's
Oh, I'm like super excited. It's like the first game in a while. I'm like truly excited for. Probably since like Pokemon,
let's see.
and it's just
Wow,
so I can be a dark arts wizard.
Hogwarts Legacy is the best-selling game on the PS5, Xbox Series X, and PC pre-launch.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Let's see here. Hogwarts Legacy is the best-selling game on the Epic Store, over Dead Space and Borderlands 3 on a 90% off sale for $7. Um, on Amazon, deluxe and regular editions are number 1 and 2 best-selling games for PS5. On Amazon, 2 deluxe editions and the regular edition of Hogwarts Legacy are number 1, 2, 3 best-selling on Xbox and Series X.
Wow.
So I don't remember how we got here, but that's just a little tidbit.
Yeah, game's doing well.
That
Good.
game's doing well. Yeah. Excuse me. Oh, all right. That was a good time talking about consent. I think we learned a
Yeah.
little something about ourselves.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments what you learned about consent.